When I did my deep dive on Deciem, The Ordinary, and their founder Brandon Truaxe, I never would have predicted that I'd be telling you this story today. Brandon's partner, Riyadh Sweden, just recently launched a skincare line, and the things I was reading about it were really interesting, but there were definitely things missing from their stories. But what we're seeing now in this Alix Earle ad campaign and across social media is a shift in how people are looking at sun protection. There's a visible shift in people wanting to adhere to these societal beauty norms and ignore science. Apparently, this lip oil has been causing people's lips to turn black, and people with more melanin-rich skin are seeing this at a higher intensity than people with less melanin. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to What's Up in Makeup, where we talk about everything that happened across the beauty industry all in one place. I know you want to know what's going on, but you have stuff to do. So that is what I do. I go all over the internet and I do all the searching and I read all of the articles to find out what's happening so you don't have to do the work. I've got it all for you here. And this week we are starting with a classic beauty guru brand, Morphe. For the past 2 years, Morphe has been fighting for its life. It was once the it social media brand, influencers all over touting their 10% off code that of course also gave them a really nice commission. But through a series of events, Morphe's parent company called Forma Brands filed for bankruptcy. And then came the subsequent mass downsizing of the Forma brands. Forma had bought the brand Lipstick Queen and never actually brought it back, so that disappeared. We also had their hairline, once touted by Emma Chamberlain, that was called Bad Habit. That went out of business. They had a vitamin company called Such Good Everything. That also went out of business. And then they had a huge public fallout with the founder of Playa Hair Care that they had acquired. There were a bunch of lawsuits, it was a complete mess, and Playa closed as well. Forma also had 2 major licensing deals. The first was with REM Beauty by Ariana Grande. Through another big court process, Ariana was able to purchase REM from Forma Brands. There was also a less known connection to Charli D'Amelio's fragrance line called Born Dreamer. I still don't know what happened to that brand. It just kind of stopped making stuff. Another thing that a lot of people didn't know that came up in the legal court documents was that they had a project that they had started with Demi Lovato. That never came to fruition. After the mass purge, there were 3 Forma brands still hanging on: Jaclyn Cosmetics, Morphe, and Morphe 2. By the end of 2024, Jaclyn Cosmetics announced that they were closing. What we found out through the court documents was that not too long before that, I think it was maybe 6 months before that, I can't remember the exact timeline, but not terribly long before Jaclyn Cosmetics closed, Forma decided that they were not going to renew Jaclyn Hill's contract at the current rates, and then we find out not long later that Jaclyn Cosmetics is closing. I don't know, of course, whether there is a direct connection, but it may have been a contributing factor to why Jaclyn Cosmetics closed. So still alive today are Morphe and Morphe 2, but it is important to note that Morphe 2 stopped posting on Instagram in mid-2024. They seem to have kind of been absorbed by the main brand Morphe. Another big thing that happened is that Forma Brands is no longer. They are now just under Morphe. And some of you that have been around for a while may be wondering, well, what happened to the founders of Morphe, Chris and Linda Twill? They're brother and sister, and of course they started as a brush brand, selling at trade shows, and it turned into this big, huge, giant brand. Well, we do know that they got rid of some of their control not too long after Jaclyn Cosmetics launched in 2019. It kind of looks like they hooked Jaclyn up with a sweet contract and then just pulled back. We do know that they were still involved in some capacity, but we also know that about 6 months after that happened, Linda bought a really big, beautiful house in Calabasas. It actually broke a record for that neighborhood. The neighborhood is called the Oaks of Calabasas. She bought it for a record $11.3 million, and it is a 10,000 plus square foot home. Just a fun fact, the house actually used to be owned by the guy who was the executive producer on the reality show The Biggest Loser, and also in another life, it was rented for a couple of years by Britney Spears. And also good for Linda, her brother actually happened to already own a home in that neighborhood that he had bought in 2018 for $9.25 million. But anyway, enough of that side tangent. We need to get to what happened this past week, which is that Morphe is actually seeming to be doing okay. And it's a good thing for them because they really did put all of their eggs in the Morphe basket. They stopped doing all of the social media stuff for their other brands pretty quickly, but they never stopped putting their love and effort into Morphe. According to Morphe's CEO, Simon Cowell, and no, not that Simon Cowell, he looks like this, it's a completely different guy. According to Simon, sales have increased 33% and comparable store sales are up a double-digit percentage. They declined, however, to share the exact revenue figures with Beauty Independent. That's where I got all this information. The finance bros that bought Morphe did, however, tell them that they are on track to be profitable and could approach their pre-bankruptcy sales in 3 to 5 years. Another smart move on Morphe's part was to move away from their traditional eyeshadow palettes that made them famous and really lean hard into kind of not duping, but going along with the trends of other brands and other popular products. And this seems to be really working for them. One of the products that really stands out to me that I saw launched was their 3-pan blush palette that really looks like the very popular product from One Size that other brands also copied. Again, according to the article, Morphe is planning to launch 12 products in 2025. Half of it they consider to be A-level launches and half they consider to be secondary launches. The brand's recent launches, like I was saying, very on trend. They launched, of course, a bronzer stick, that blush, and a honey plumping lip oil. Morphe's goal for 2025 is for 30% of its retail sales to be driven by new products, and they say that they are on pace to exceed that, which is really interesting. And of course, which I also think is very smart, they haven't completely given up on influencer marketing. The collabs that they're doing are quieter. They're sending products out to more Instagram and TikTokers rather than YouTubers and people that are not necessarily like the biggest influencers unless they have a big launch like their brushes that they came out with that made a big splash in the worlds of Michaela and Jeffree Star, which was weird. I'm not going to go on a Jeffree Star side tangent. We talked about it when this happened, but they had a huge fallout, Morphe and Jeffree Star. And to see Jeffree Star talking about Morphe, I don't know how that happened, but I have a feeling we don't know everything that happened behind the scene to get him to talk about those brushes. But that's just a feeling. I don't know that for sure. Another thing that they're doing, which is so 2025, is that they said that they are using AI technology to track consumer trends, to track what people are saying about Morphe across the internet. And that may be how they jumped on the trends that they did in 2024. I mean, it is what it is at this point, but I am so curious what's going to happen with Morphe in the next year, whether they'll be able to continue this upward trend or they're going to have a scandal. I don't know, but it seems like the new owners are very, very careful about trying to be scandal-free, but they're also kind of testing the waters with bigger influencers like Michaela and Jeffree. So I don't know. I am so curious to watch where Morphe goes this year. What do you think is going to happen? When I did my deep dive on Deciem, The Ordinary, and their founder, Brandon Truaxe, I never would have predicted that I'd be telling you this story today. Brandon's partner, Riyadh Sweden, just recently launched a skincare line, and the things I was reading about it were really interesting, but there were definitely things missing from their stories. So first, let's talk about what is being reported and a little bit of backstory. Brandon unfortunately passed away back in January of 2019. He fell off his balcony. It was of course, very sudden, very, very tragic. But people watching all of this unfold and go down weren't totally surprised that something happened to him. And the reason why is because he had been spiraling out of control very publicly on Instagram over the past year. And upon his death, he did leave some unfinished projects. First, Avistan, that was his fragrance line, and also Loofah, which was a body care line. And his co-founder, Nicola Kilner, brought those to life after he died in 2022 and 2024, respectively. He also left behind a lot of wealth, and he passed that on to the people he loved. Among the people that got some of his inheritance were his partner Riyadh and Nicola Kilner. In the story, it's interesting because Brandon denied that he was gay publicly and denied specifically that he was in a relationship with Riyadh when he was alive. But after he died, Riyadh put together a beautiful tribute to Brandon, and they had been in a relationship for over 10 years, and he made this video, and it really just shows how much they loved each other, all of the experience that they had together, the travel that they did, the joy that they brought each other. It's a beautiful tribute. I'll link the video down below if you'd like to watch it. Brandon kept their relationship so secret that even Nicola didn't know that they were a couple. She knew Riyadh because he had been working for Deciem since 2013 when they launched, mostly as a plant manager. But she didn't know that they were in a relationship. So fast forward to this week when Riyadh came out saying that he was launching this skincare line. It is called Tursian, and it is a tribute to Brandon. Here's what I learned from the articles. So first, it is very expensive. Their Y3 Youth Restore Serum Concentrate is $300 per ounce. Their least expensive product is 2 ounces, and it's a tube of their Amazonian Berries Face Exfoliator. It's $50. Most of the products do run between that $100 and $200 range per product. They come in 3 different categories. There's the R series, which is Radiance, Renew, and Restore. The P series, which is Hydrate, Repair, and Regenerate. And the Y series, Lift, Firm, and Rejuvenate. Now, Riyadh has shared there is a hidden meaning behind the way they did the logo. If you look at the T, there's a little piece of the T missing, and he says that that missing piece is Brandon. But what the articles didn't say is that Brandon actually tried an extremely similar concept to this before. It was called Uoko. The concepts were pretty much the same in that what they both did was scour the world for ingredients that had a lot of potential but are unique to the skincare market to deliver that luxury experience but also deliver really good results. The packaging is also similar. Here's a side-by-side comparison. Even the collection idea is similar. Tursian has 3 different categories where Uoko had 5. They're represented by a letter and a number. In a 2008 interview, this is what I do. 2008 interview with W Magazine, Brandon said, quote, "I thought if consumers are willing to pay so much money, why not consider every ingredient out there, regardless of raw material cost?" And Tursian seems to be going the exact same route. Another thing really interesting about Uoko is that Brandon wasn't able to make that brand do well. It declared bankruptcy in 2010, a couple years after Brandon left. But it seems like Riyadh learned a very important lesson from Brandon's journey with Deciem and The Ordinary, as he's decided that he does not want any investors. He wants full control over this brand, which is also something that was really important to Brandon that he gave up to Estee Lauder. And I can see Riyadh being like, I am not doing that same thing. All in all, I just want to wish Riyadh nothing but the best. I hope Tursian does so well. And if you are interested in hearing more about this story, I know I'm super biased on this one because I made it, but my Behind the Controversy 2-part series that I did on this story is quite the banger. The first part is about Brandon himself and how he ended up founding Deciem and The Ordinary. It's also the story of Uoko, so if you're interested in that, go to part 1. But if you want to hear more about Brandon, that part 2 video is one of, I feel like, the best videos I've ever made in my 13 years on this platform. I am so super proud of it, and people that watch it, absolutely just the best comments on that video that warm my heart. You know, people are still watching and leaving comments, and it just makes me so happy that people are just so blown away by that video. And I hate tooting my own horn because as women, we're taught not to do that, but it's a dang good video. So if you haven't seen it yet, links are down below if you're interested. There was a time when we thought, at least I thought, a lot of people in the community thought that influencer marketing was dying because there were so many influencer brands and so many influencer collaborations. It was a lot, and we were just kind of tired of it. And then TikTok happened, and I really feel like that changed how we perceived influencer marketing, in that on TikTok, the advertising that happens over there is such a grift. In a lot of cases, of course, not all cases, but in a lot of cases, it's a lot of sales for the sake of sales, and people know they're being sold to and maybe possibly even lied to, and they legit don't care. They're like, get your bag, queen. And it's very different. Influencers selling product is not only normalized, it's expected. And I wouldn't even say that influencer marketing in 2025 has hit another peak. I feel like it's still growing. We're seeing more and more influencers get bigger and bigger deals with bigger and bigger brands. Another parallel shift that seems unrelated, but you know that it's not because I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't connected, is our relationship with sun care. For years in the beauty space, the way we've talked about being out in the sun has been very heavy to don't do it. If you go out in the sun unprotected, you are going to increase your chances of skin cancer. And the encouragement of wearing sunscreen year long to protect yourself from UV rays became very common. We also had a lot of self-tanners really selling very, very well because that was seen as the safest alternative. And in my perspective, it is. But recently I've noticed a change in that people are starting to promote again going out in the sun and getting a tan. An influencer directly promoting sunbathing. Just a few years ago, they would have been absolutely roasted, but it is not a couple of years ago, and it is very accepted now to go out in the sun and get tan, especially with the younger TikTok audience. Let's talk about it. This week, we have a partnership between Alix Earle and Hawaiian Tropic. The campaign is called Tantra Sutra, and it focuses on sunbathers who switch their position every 20 minutes to get the best tan. To be fair, this is a silly campaign that, of course, builds off of the Kama Sutra, which is a book that teaches positions for other joyful activities. It is a cute campaign if you take the skin cancer out of it. According to an article in the publication Happy, I will put it down below, Alix aims to empower pool goers to let their flirtiest, most confident selves shine all summer long. The chief creative officer at an investment bank that has interest in Hawaiian Tropic, I'm not sure why this person's talking to the press, but they are. They said in a press release, ask any sun lover, including Alix Earle, and they'll tell you the secret to an even glow is switching positions every 15 to 20 minutes. That ritual inspired Tantra Sutra, our vibrant and flirty, glow-getting guide that nods to the brand's iconic history while speaking directly to the bold, radiant energy of now. You know, spread the rays all over your body so you can get even sun damage all over your skin. Because what some people don't know, and I didn't know for many, many years, is that the tan that your body gets is sun damage. As an interesting point of note, the Tantra Sutra campaign is Hawaiian Tropic's largest creative campaign ever. I'm going to take this a little bit personal for a second, but it's not, personal. It's just a little personal. So I went to my ukulele practice last week. I hang out with my few girlfriends and we chat and we drink wine and we play the ukulele. It's super fun. My friend Julie was unable to attend ukulele practice last week, and it's because she just had a surgery to remove a big chunk of skin from her arm, and it's because there was melanoma found, and they're now testing that to see if the cancer is spread. Now, I know a lot of us have been touched by skin cancer in one way or another. Either we have had it ourselves or we have a family member or a friend that has had it. So we know that melanoma and skin cancers are real. We also know how people are most likely to get skin cancer, and that is from UV damage from the sun. But what we're seeing now in this Alix Earle ad campaign and across social media is a shift in how people are looking at sun protection. We have people out there saying, oh my gosh, you need to be in the sun because of vitamin D. And what they're not telling you is that if you're wearing even the best sunblock, you are still getting some UV rays. You're just more protected. There is no evidence that you are not getting vitamin D from the sun if you're wearing sunblock. That's just not real. There's a visible shift in people wanting to adhere to these societal beauty norms and ignore science. There's people in clean beauty who are presenting themselves as scientific experts just because they read an article from EWG and they don't understand what they're talking about. And then they're spreading this information as if they understand it. And it's very, very dangerous. There's also the narrative that sunscreen is giving you cancer because it has chemicals in it, which is also something that is not proven to be true. In our What's Up in Makeup Facebook Hunters group, this ad was put in there and I was absolutely horrified, not surprised, but horrified. This is a brand named Primally Pure, and they put up a billboard and it reads, "The sun isn't poison, but your sunscreen is." The caption next to it reads, "Sun fear ends here. For too long, we've been told to avoid the sun at all costs and to slather on toxic ingredients daily in the name of protection. But it's time for a more balanced, empowered approach. Our unpopular opinion, you don't need SPF every day. But for those longer stretches in the sun, wearing a truly non-toxic effective sunscreen matters. We're on a mission to encourage mindful sun exposure because the sun can be medicine." Are you kidding me? Of course, this was met by outrage in the comments by dermatologists. These are medical doctors with training in this area. For example, we have Kunal Malik. He is a dermatologist. He said, "This is an extremely dangerous message that promotes unsafe sun safety behaviors, which have time and time again been linked to skin cancers like melanoma, which are deadly. Rather than using this fear-mongering approach of toxic sunscreens in general, why not focus on the positives of your product instead? Extremely disappointing and irresponsible." The brand actually responded to him, and the way my jaw just dropped. The message here is defending themselves, of course, but then encouraging him to listen to their podcast to learn more. Absolutely floored. So this is where dermatologist Janelle Vega rightfully shoots back. She says, he doesn't need to listen to your podcast to learn about sunscreens and the dangers of the sun. He's a literal dermatologist. You know what really just grinds my gears about their posts is the use of unpopular opinion to just say something that's not real. That's not an unpopular opinion. That is just something that's not real. What is happening? How are we here? How are we here? And they present this as an altruistic, we just want to help you kind of thing. To strip it all away, they're trying to sell product. They're trying to stand out in a market. They're trying to be unique. And their way to be unique is to make you afraid of other products unnecessarily in order to make you feel forced to buy their product because that's the safe one. It is a marketing strategy, and what they're telling you is scientifically wrong. And I know I am mostly preaching to the choir here. I know a lot of you know this, so if it feels like I'm yelling at you, I'm just really passionate about it, and I know there are people that are buying into this, and I'm scared for them. I am legitimately scared for them. And I don't want you to take it just from me, but of course, I'm just a mom in my basement, man. These are just the things that I've read and the things that I have seen and know to be true because I've seen the scientific data behind it. I'm going to link the science so you can read it yourself down below that backs up everything that I'm saying. And these companies are going to throw data at you. They are going to talk to you about how there's, only 2 kinds of sunscreen that are approved by the FDA and the other ones are just being tested. There's a lot that they're not telling you in that. So I'm going to let the professionals tell you. I'm going to leave a plethora of resources and doctors down below that'll give you the real deal about what she's saying and why it's being manipulative and could put your life in danger. And to add on the Alix Earle layer to it, that is so terrifying to me, to use such a huge social media influencer that has so much pull and power over young people who don't know that when you're doing this as a young person, it can catch up to you as an adult. It doesn't matter if you don't get skin cancer now. That doesn't mean that when you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s, you're not going to get skin cancer from your behaviors in your 20s and 30s. And Alix Earle is not only promoting it, she is celebrating it. All right, I'm stepping off my soapbox now. I'm just so passionate about this, and it really genuinely upsets me. Okay, I promise that's the maddest I'm gonna get. I'm going to calm it down now. But I do have more science information for you that I think is really important, but I won't yell, I promise. So when we buy a product, we have a reasonable expectation that it is going to perform the way that it is supposed to perform, and that it's going to do it without causing a problem for us. But we also know that different people are allergic to different things, different people have different reactions to different things, and that doesn't always happen where you get something and it meets those expectations. Sometimes it's more of an isolated incident with just a couple of people, and sometimes it's more of a widespread problem. And that's what we've been seeing over on TikTok over the past couple of weeks, talking about the Dior Addict lip oil. Apparently, this lip oil has been causing people's lips to turn black. And people with more melanin-rich skin are seeing this at a higher intensity than people with less melanin. Not only is it turning their lip skin black, but some people are noticing dry, flaky skin and just general irritation and a burning feeling. Some of these videos, of course, have thousands of views, and people are wondering, is the Dior Lip Addict lip oil safe? The other question is, why does it seem to be affecting Black people more than other people? Well, Allure wanted to answer this question, so they asked a selection of dermatologists what they thought was going on. And of course, these dermatologists, they're not connected to the people that have the TikTok videos. They're not their patients, they don't know them personally, but all of them agreed on what they thought the problem was. And it's called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. This is what they say is happening. When the skin gets injured or irritated, it may produce excess pigment. And it's more common in darker skin because of the naturally higher melanin content in the skin. When you have naturally higher melanin, you're going to see darker marks. Dr. Mona Gara, she is a dermatologist in Connecticut. She said that even minor exposure to irritants can lead to visible dark spots on the lips. So the question is why is this happening with the Dior lip glow? And they can't really figure that out. Like, why is it this product? They have some thoughts of what it might be. It seems like the irritation is due to prolonged exposure. So they looked at the ingredients and they're looking at it and they're like, well, these are pretty standard lip gloss ingredients. It's emollients and moisturizers and, stuff that you see in lip glosses all the time. So what is it? And one of the things that they said it might be is fragrance. And it's not because fragrance is bad. We're not going to demonize all fragrance. It's because when companies put fragrance on their labels, it's a proprietary blend of different fragrances. They have to disclose certain fragrances, but not all of them. So there might be something happening in this proprietary fragrance blend that is more of an allergen or irritant to some people, because it's not happening to everybody using lip gloss, it's just some people. They're also saying that if these women, because it's all women that are posting these videos, these women are spending more time in the sun, the lip gloss could be acting almost like a magnifying glass and intensifying the UV rays and intensifying the irritation. And in that, it's intensifying the discoloration. Because of course, the Dior Addict Lip Glow doesn't have any SPF in it. Besides the discoloration, like I was saying, people are also talking about getting like a burning rash. And the doctors are saying that it might be something called phytophotodermatitis, also sometimes nicknamed a margarita burn. Now, usually this is from citrus oils. That's why it gets the margarita burn label, because it's like lime juice and things like that gets intensified when you're out in the sun. thing, but there's no citrus ingredients that are listed in the ingredient list. So like I said, it might be something in that proprietary blend of fragrances, or it might be an interaction of different ingredients. We don't know for sure. Doctors say if you notice this happening, of course, discontinue using the product immediately, because the more you use it, the longer you use it, the more the irritation is going to happen. And you may not realize you're having an allergic reaction because you can't feel it, but that doesn't mean you're not having an allergic reaction. So you should probably stop using it. Because if you don't stop using it, it could make the irritation harder to treat in the end. Now, if you cannot bear to stop using your Dior Addict lip oil, they did present an alternative to just not using it anymore, and that's to apply a lip balm SPF underneath the lip oil. Something you've used before, something you know that your lips react well to, and then layer the Dior Addict lip gloss on top of it. But they say no matter what you do not over exfoliate the lips, because that could cause even more damage. As I was saying, I wasn't going to get upset earlier. I forgot that right before I filmed, I dug into this a little bit more and I was watching the TikToks on it. And I did get upset at some of the ways that other women who weren't having reactions were reacting to the women that were having reactions. And there was a lot of mocking. There was a lot of people just proudly putting on their lip oil like, I'm not having a problem. And you know where I think that stems from is that there are a lot of people that are on TikTok that are lying about various different things, because the platform, the way it's set up, it's all about the click, it's about the view, it's about the watch time, and it has nothing to do with whether people are giving valid information. So it's bred this culture of lying for views over there. So I get the skepticism, and the people that are making these videos might not realize that these women do have legitimate claims and that this is really happening to them. I think it's the mocking for me of people that are struggling with something. That's where I get bothered with it, even though I understand where it comes from. And in a world where women, especially Black women, are often not believed for things like this happening, to see other women mocking them and not believing them, it hurts my heart. But again, that's just my Gen X mom in my basement opinion. Maybe I don't understand, but whatever. That's just what I have to say about it. That's how I feel about it. But back to Dior. So to my knowledge, they haven't put out any kind of public statement about what's going on with this. So if you are part of the affected group, what you could do is report this to Dior and just let them know that this is happening. That way they can keep a record of it and keep track of how common this problem is, and maybe look into the ingredients and that proprietary fragrance blend that only they and their labs know, and maybe do a slight formula change that really wouldn't change the product too much in order to accommodate more people and reduce irritation. And the last thing I want to say is that if you have experienced this or some other allergic reaction to a product, I am so sorry that you're dealing with this, and I hope that you heal and feel better soon. Now, with this next one, I'm a little nervous to mention it, because I have to admit in this that I don't fully understand what happened around the Super Bowl time last fall with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. All I know is that Kendrick Lamar wiped the floor with him and people didn't like Drake after that. That's all I really know, and I'm so sorry that I don't know more, but I will admit to you when I don't know something. So I regret to inform you, if you are not a Drake fan, that we're talking about Drake because he launched a fragrance line. It's available at Ulta. It's not a line though. It's actually just one product, but I would imagine it'll turn into a line. So he has a company called Better World Fragrance House, and they've launched a fragrance called Summer Mink. It's the brand's first eau de parfum. Apparently, they had already launched candles and a perfume oil. The fragrance is $148. The chief brand officer of Drake's Dream Crew brand said in a press release, quote, "When you launch your first fragrance, there's a ton of pressure on what it is, what it's going to smell like, and all eyes are on that category because it makes up the bulk of the business." So no one has specifically mentioned the sales so far, but industry sources expect Summer Mink to top $60 million in sales for its first year on the market. The scent is top notes of Italian citrus and sage, featuring mid notes of jasmine sambac, and it dries down in base notes of vetiver and creamy musk. So that's it. I've told you about it. Celebrity brand launches, done. I guess not quite done because we're going to be talking about celebrity makeup artists now, and they're celebrities in their own right. We're starting with Mario Dedivanovic. He has made a deal with Sephora. Now, if you're not familiar with him, he became famous originally as being Kim Kardashian's makeup artist, and then he launched his own makeup brand called Makeup by Mario. So they have this exclusive partnership with Mario. They're celebrating his 25-year career, which started at Sephora. He actually worked as a fragrance consultant in the New York Flatiron District store. The collaboration will involve Mario traveling across Sephora stores in the US, the UK, and Germany, one location in each country. He's hosting an exclusive series of in-person masterclasses with multiple sessions that'll build on each other. Participants will gain firsthand access to his tips and tricks while exploring the philosophy that defines his approach to makeup. The tour just kicked off this week on May 21st in Germany, celebrating the opening of Sephora's newest store. The next stop is London on June 9th, followed by a masterclass in the US in September. I also want to mention that the rumors are intensifying that Mario is looking at selling his brand, so I'll let you know if that happens. And speaking of masterclasses and makeup artists, Jordan Liberty has just showed a sneak peek of his sub-brand underneath Blend Bunny Cosmetics, where he has developed a pro-inspired line. It's for professionals and everyday makeup wearers. So what's in the collection? We have the Pro Cheek Palette. It's a magnetic 15-pan blush palette featuring 12 matte, 2 blush, and 1 luster shade. Then there's the Pro Luster Palette, also magnetic, 4 shades in that. They are luster toppers, supercharged blush lights, best layered over the matte blushes. There's also lip oil glosses, 12 shades that combine the hydration of a lip oil with the versatility of a gloss. 4 different formula variations. There's sheer metallic, metallic, ultra sheer, and sheer for different effects. And then of course, there's brushes. These are face brushes. They're called the Give Good Face brushes, and they're for all kinds of cosmetic applications for face, complexion, blush, highlight, all of that. Everything is launching this Friday. And if you are not familiar with Jordan Liberty, but you were around in the height of the beauty guru days, if you saw a beauty brand launch, if you saw a beauty guru collaboration, there is a good chance that for that ad campaign, Jordan did the makeup for the influencer. He did a lot of influencer makeup back then. Sadly, he was diagnosed with cancer and he dealt with that for a couple of years. He is now in remission, completely cancer-free, I believe, for the last 5 years. And he's been working more in the pro makeup arena since then. And he has brought that pro makeup knowledge to designing this entire collection. Everything to him having pigments and mixing them together to make shades and then send them over to the lab for them to duplicate. From that level of involvement to designing every single packaging element himself, this brand is Jordan through and through. And the other note that I want to mention is that Jordan is one of the nicest people that I have met in my 13 years doing stuff in the beauty space. He is a lovely person, and I cannot wait to try these products and let you know what I think. In doing What's Up in Makeup for a long time, I find it very odd, this brand founder cha-cha that is happening with so many brands right now. Like the forward and the back and the leaving and the coming and it's very odd. We saw many brand founders leaving. We saw brand founders that reacquired their shares from lenders that they had previously sold. It's a lot's happening right now. So this week we have a brand founder that is coming back to her brand as CEO, and that's Annie Lawless Jacobs. She left the CEO position a couple of years ago, but she stayed on to kind of help with the creative process for the brand, but now she is back as CEO. According to Circana, as reported by Beauty Independent, so far this year, Lawless has achieved double-digit growth while sales of prestige makeup dipped 1% in the first quarter on a dollar basis. One thing we can count on with Annie back at the helm is we are going to see more of their Forget the Filler line happening. In February of this year, they launched the Forget the Filler Skin Plumping Line Smoothing Foundation, and they say that the product beat sales expectations by 33% in the 2 weeks following its debut. 2022, relying heavily on that skincare makeup hybrid marketing point. When asked about how she guides Lawless in a challenging market, Annie said, "What's really important is building something that can really stand the test of time and doesn't feel trend-driven or viral. I didn't create this brand because I thought clean was going to be a booming category. I created this from true, authentic needs." And I wish them all the best of luck. Have you ever tried Lawless products? I feel like I've tried some of their lip products that were pretty good, but I don't have a lot of experience with the brand, so let me know your thoughts. Okay, big yikes from last week is an update on Revolution Beauty. We talked last week about how they were not doing well, and this week things seem to have gotten worse because they have announced that they are looking to sell the company. They are also exploring funding options as part of a strategic review to address its financial structure because remember, they're running out of time on that loan that they took out. It ends, they said it ends in October. The company appointed advisors to assist in evaluating their options and has entered into discussions with interested parties. So what you need to know, in very simple terms, is that they're in the cart, but they're not dead yet.
He says he's not dead. Yes, he is. I'm not.
Like a lot of y'all said last week in the comment section, how about we bring back BH Cosmetics? They bought BH Cosmetics, I don't know how many years ago, a while back, and they've done absolutely nothing with it. I know there are a lot of people that loved that brand. I don't know why they don't bring it back. It's so weird. And for our lighthearted story of the week, we do not have a commercial this week. I wanted to mix it up, and I sat on this one last week because we had a commercial I want to show you, but this is so freaking cute. This is a husband and wife celebrating their anniversary. I don't want to give it away. I'm just going to play it.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Me and this beautiful lady are celebrating 6 years of marriage today. She has 6 minutes starting now to get whatever she wants from the store. Go.
What do you need to start to get real?
Foundation, setting spray, one size. I just ran out. Big. I wanted to get NARS. I bought some, but I bought the wrong shade.
So look it up right now.
Okay. What else is on yours? I wanted to get the NARS foundation, but I don't know what shade I am.
She's pulling up your account right now.
Okay.
I'm going to preemptively stop this for a second because I know we're thinking the same thing. So we're going to pause. We're going to say it together. We're going to get it out of our system. At this point, I'm thinking, go, go, go. Just grab one. Just if it looks good, just grab it. Go back tomorrow. Get shade matched and swap it. Go, go. Also, I want to stop this just to savor the moment and the look of pure joy on this woman's face right now. I absolutely love it.
What else? I'll show you.
I love y'all.
I want you to get everything. Okay, what's your phone number?
5 minutes.
Yes. Okay. This is there was another NARS thing right there, and that's my exact color.
What is it?
Cafe.
Cafe.
So this is crazy.
Okay. You like to call my name? Okay.
4 minutes.
Lashes over here.
You need this. You need this. Okay, girl. Yeah. Oh, I like this.
That includes checkout, by the way.
No, it does not.
What do you need? Do you like these or do you like these softer? Okay, what else? Okay. Right here, right here. Right here. What do you
How much time I got?
Get all the gift cards. $1,000.
Okay.
I'm gonna switch them out. That way that's in the basket, but I'm gonna go get the real one in the back.
Okay. Okay. We just gonna do gift cards. I heard you.
3 minutes.
You got 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes to add. You sure you don't want skincare or nothing?
You can't get gift cards, y'all.
What? Okay.
2 minutes.
You're holding it.
Oh my God.
1 minute. Double tap my wife. Happy anniversary. You killed it.
Really?
Right. And since you already bought it, it'll work out when you return it.
Okay. Okay.
Give me some.
Thank you.
We gotta get to dinner now.
There is so much to love. Like I'm getting like emotional watching this. There's so much to love about this clip. The biggest thing for me is that you can tell that she really doesn't want to just buy whatever. Like she's really being intentional on this. I'm not sure how this is in other countries, but in the US, it is common for married couples to have separate bank accounts. And it looks like that's the situation happening here. And the fact that she's not just grabbing whatever just shows how much respect they have in the relationship, and that she's not trying to make him spend money on things that she doesn't actually want. She's being so intentional, and I love that. The second thing I want to mention is how this Sephora staff has rallied around her to help her to get the things that she truly wants. It just warms my heart how they're all working together on this. You can just tell throughout this that this couple has a really good relationship, that this is just a fun activity for them, that it's not a competition. But I love how he's just letting her pick whatever. He's not saying, oh, don't get that, that's too expensive. He's not distracting her or stepping in her way to try to stop her from doing the activity. Like they're genuinely enjoying this game together, and it's not a competition. I see a lot of times couples that just feel like they're always in competition, always trying to one up each other, and you can just see the pure joy and the fun the two of them are having. So I wanted to share that with you because it just completely and totally warmed my heart. And that, my friend, was What's Up in Makeup this week. Thank you so, so much for watching. And of course, as always, thank you to the What's Up in Makeup Facebook hunters. Their names are scrolling below me. Thank you for all of your submissions to the group this week. I appreciate you so much. And in that, I want to give a special mention to all of the sales happening in the US for Memorial Day this week. There's so many. I'm just going to rattle off the list of brands. We have NARS, House Labs, KVD Beauty, Fenty Beauty, Danessa Myricks, Charlotte Tilbury, Truly Beauty, Kajad, Naked Sundays, Tatcha, Refer, Westman Atelier, Vacation, Say, Lawless, Grande Cosmetics, It Cosmetics, First Aid Beauty, Elemis, Stila, About Face, Cover Effects, they've been on sale for a while, let's be fair, Sigma, Kevin Aquan, Viseart, Laura Geller, Nomad Cosmetics, Catrice, Slip, and Moira, and One Size Cosmetics. There's probably more. I know I've seen a lot of brands talking about that they're starting to raise prices. So if there is a brand that you know you're going to need to re-up on that you can purchase now, it's probably a good time to get it during the sale because prices may be going up soon. There may be formula changes happening due to the tariffs. So just as a heads up, this may be something to look out for, but of course not overspend. Don't buy something you don't need. I don't want to encourage that unless you want because it's your money, but I don't want to encourage overspending just to overspend. But if there's something you need, you may want to look into it this weekend. And thank you to the hunters for putting all of those into our group. I appreciate you so, so much. I also want to quickly mention the product report. A lot of people have been asking me about it, wondering where it is. I've put it on hold. It may not be gone forever. It's just a lot of work and I'm putting my energy toward other projects and I just have to set my priorities for time. There's only so many hours in the day and I'm setting a priority and the product report just hasn't been a priority compared to getting you a really good top news segment and also working on my Friday deep dives. And this next one is going to be so freaking good. So that's why you haven't seen the product report. I'm not telling you that it's canceled forever, but for now it's just on pause. And if you would like to watch something right now, YouTube should be recommending 2 videos over here for you. The bottom one is last week's What's Up in Makeup top news. The top one is one YouTube is going to pick out for you. But if you gotta go, I get it. It is no problem. Thank you for hanging out as long as you did. And mad love to you. I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye.